Hello everybody and welcome to episode 29 of The Spawn Point. I'm Ebby, your temporary host for today, and joining me today, as always, is Matt and Andy.
Hello.
Hello.
Busting
out the dance
This week's
moves.
podcast is apparently sponsored by Virtual Gladiators. So by using the code VECTRA, you can get 10% off Minecraft server hosting. This week, we're going to talk about a new console that came out, being the new Nintendo 3DS, which is the worst name for a console ever. Just putting that out there right now. So, me and Andy both have a new 3DS, and
I have, yeah.
A new 3DS.
Yeah, I've also got my old one.
And gathering all the 3DSs.
I sort of match both of you because I've got the same as Matt and the same as you. So
Yeah.
I'm trying my best here. So what do you think about the new 3DS XL?
You know what? I don't think Matt can really talk about this.
I can ask you some stuff about it, and compared to the old one, because I've got a few minor gripes with the old one that I hope have been addressed in this new one.
So, this is obviously it's not obvious, but this is actually the first 3DS I've owned. So I actually think I'm fairly happy with it overall. Although the the new C-pad? Have you used that much?
Yeah, I use it a fair amount because Majora's Mask has this new feature where you can actually free control the camera, which is super neat. And it's not a C-stick. It's more like... people are describing it as the nipple.
Probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested, it's this little thing here.
Can I just ask an outsider question? Do you have to... You can't play Majora's Mask without that button? You can't do it use it on the old one then?
You can.
You can?
You can play it on the old 3DS, but I assume it'll work better for the camera if you have a Circle Pad Pro. Because
you can then... so the C stick but controls the camera and where it moves around.
But it's...
Yeah.
If you ever played on the original Majora's Mask, you'll probably be more familiar with the way that the camera works in that game, which is you just press... I think it's the Z button to just have the camera snap behind you. And you can still do that, but it also gives you the option to, I don't know, free control the camera or whatever. It's also got a lot of gyroscope controls in it as well, which I'm not too keen on, personally. Yeah. But,
do you guys use the 3D feature, or do you just keep it off?
I was going to say, I've used it a fair amount, but after a while of using it, I go massively cross-eyed. And and then when I go back to looking at normal stuff, I'm like, I can't focus properly. So I've just stopped using it.
The 3D on the new XL, the new DS, is way better than it is on the old one. I don't know if you've ever had this where you're like, I think I'll just turn the 3D on to see what it looks like, and you have to hold it at a very specific angle on the old 3DS.
I used to be sat here, playing, it's actually in the, which one is it? Pokemon X and Y. Mm-hmm. And when you have to kind of be you're holding it, and then you're like, just any minute now, I'll get it matched up. There we go, just stay still. You don't want to move your head, because otherwise it might mess it up.
It's just not comfortable to use, in my opinion, but the new 3DS has a head tracking feature in it, basically. Which is really cool to calibrate as well, because it has a little picture of a dude, and you can do this, and the guy will also do that, and it's amazing.
So now, I had a couple of long train journeys, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to flick it on, and if you look away and then look back, it sort of takes a second for it to readjust to your face, but it doesn't seem to have that many issues. The one thing I did have an issue with is when I was in bed.
Playing it in the dark.
It doesn't if you're in pitch black, or if there's lights about and you're sort of lying on your side. For some reason, it didn't want to stay in focus for me, and it kept on merging out, which was really strange.
I had the issue where I couldn't play it in the dark, but I hadn't had the other issue. But other than that, from what I've played with the 3DS, I think it works really well. I'm still probably not going to use it that much, though. I don't know why.
I mean, my biggest issue is, as we discussed, we were just spent about 2 minutes doing this. Because that used to annoy me so much, because sometimes when I would kind of, I don't know, I'd move it a little bit and it just, the slightest thing just jolts and it snaps like that. Which you said hasn't really been fixed in the new one? Still does it. I guess it's a heavier screen though, isn't it? So it's a bit harder to
But it does also click here as well, which is quite nice.
Oh, has it got an extra clicking?
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's that.
But does it actually stick there very well, like in that position, or like do you have to actually try quite hard to?
I've had to.
Yeah, I had to try, but
yeah, you have to be quite aggressive with it.
It's so easy with the old one.
I don't want to shake it too much because it's like
destroy them.
Well, you can go out and buy a new one, and but
not
the price.
That type.
£500, please.
Yeah, it depends if you want to pay.
I mean, like the actual new buttons as well. There's not really much support for them yet, so there's an extra couple of shoulder buttons. And like from holding it, it does look like you should be able to use them quite nicely because they are I don't know if you can see, but they are slightly raised.
Oh
so
yeah.
It looks like you can comfortably use it with your fingertips and then use just mid fingers to use the other buttons. But there's not really much support for them at the moment.
Have you tried using the 3D cameras on the 3D camera on the back of it?
No.
Yeah, it's alright.
It didn't really work too great on the old one, I thought. Because I tried using the video feature and stuff. When you try and take 3D video with it messes my eyes up even more. Like you saying about your eyes going cross-eyed. If you watch a video that you record in 3D, I don't know, that just does things to your brain.
Just trying to. Oh god, what have I completely messed everything up. I'm just gonna try and edit on take a picture while we're here, and then just show you. Actually, no, there won't be any point because you won't be able to see it in 3D.
Yeah, it won't work. You just got to think about that.
2D. I thought I was doing so good.
Dang it.
But overall, I'm quite impressed with it. I was waiting for a while to get an upgrade to the old DS anyway, because it's not that great.
Mm.
It just wasn't that comfortable to use, but this one just seems much better. The screens are brighter. The screens just.
Did you use your old
it does a lot for me.
that much, or not really?
Oh yeah, I used it all the time because it had Animal Crossing on it. So.
The one thing I have found, it comes with a 4 gig card, and I've not got that much stuff on, my 3DS. So, Majora's Mask, I downloaded a couple of apps, and it's used, nearly 2 gig already. So...
The weird thing is, I thought I had, I was assuming, I've got some games downloaded on here. I must have, an 8 gig card in my old 3DS. And I've got, a couple of games downloaded and a bunch of photos from whoever owned it before. And it's only a 2 gig card. So I was quite surprised by how much stuff I could actually get on this without me ever even knowing.
Oh wow.
So I've got a Link Between Worlds on there. I've got some virtual console games. So I think a 4 gig card would be fine for me for now anyway.
I mean, I went out and bought just a 32 gig card. It works apparently, and I was like, well, it's fairly cheap, so I'm just going to buy one of them, stick it in there, and it's saves me in the future.
Yeah.
And you said on the on the unboxing video that you did about it's quite awkward to actually put, if you're constantly swapping SD cards for whatever reason, then you have to unscrew the back of the case really, which
I don't really think that. I mean, have you ever changed your SD card in your old?
Not
console?
really. I mean, it is quite useful though, just having, because on this one it's just literally right there, and you just flick it down, there you go, it's done. It just seems a little bit of unnecessary. I don't know why they couldn't just stick it on the side. I know it's a very minor thing, but you know,
it's probably because it would ruin the nice lines they have.
Oh, here's a weird thing about this one. You put the games in there.
Yeah.
Rather than on the back.
Yeah.
I thought that was really weird. But the console itself does come without a charger as well, which a lot of people are upset about. I bought a bundle that came with the charger, and then it came without the charger, so I was more upset about that personally. But
so if someone was going to buy just the regular new 3DS version, would they have such a stupid name? Even saying it, just. But do they have? So they have. It doesn't come with the. Does it come with the original one? Like just the regular. So they have to go out and buy that separately.
Yes, but if you've had a DSi, or is it a DSi or a DS Lite?
I think it's a DS Lite.
DS Lite and an old model 3DS, you can still use the charger from that one, but you have to, if you want to resell it, then you can't.
It's a little bit like if you sold like a Wii U without the controller, and you're like, well, you have to buy that separately, I'm afraid. I don't know why they didn't think that through. They're like, yep, got this. We know we've got an amazing name for the system. We've got this great design. I swear there's something we're forgetting.
What is it that we put in other packaging? I mean,
is it the camera? We've got the camera on the back. Stylus? No, we've got that.
It's not.
I'm sure we'll think of it when later on when it comes out. Oh no, the charger.
It's not like it's like a universal charger anyway. Either it's not like it's a micro thingy USB or whatever. It's a specific Nintendo one. So like, if I hadn't got that bundle and if I just bought a 3DS, I'd have been there. But my new console.
Or even if you did have an old one and you thought, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to need the charger because the new one's going to have one. I don't need 2 chargers. I'll sell my old 3DS with the charger, and then you go, I shouldn't have sold that charger. And then you're not going to be able to sell your old one to somebody else without the charger, because then they're going to be like, well, how do I charge the thing? And you'll be like,
this is exactly why I bought the bundle. That and the fact that it was the limited edition one that I wanted, but the fact that it came with the charger was also quite nice.
So the fact that it's a charger is the actual limited edition charger as well?
Yeah, limited edition charger. It was gold with Majora's Mask on it.
Speaking of Majora's Mask, because now you've played it when you were younger, haven't you? And this is actually the first time that I've ever picked up the game and played it. And much to everyone's disgust, it's the third Zelda game I played, if you include Hyrule Warriors, because I now own that.
Have you played the one with the pig lady that Ebby was talking about? Do you remember? You have to pick up the pigs and get...
Yeah, put the pigs in a pen for the pig lady. Yeah.
No, but I have found dog racing in Majora's Mask, which is pretty fun. But I was saying before, and if anyone follows me on Twitter, you might have seen me raging about Majora's Mask. And I'm really shit at the temples and everything. I've got to the second one, and both times I've gone in there, it's like, right, I've got 3 days to do this temple. And it's taken me the whole 3 days. I'm like, I'm nowhere near finishing this. Got to restart, rewind time. It's like, the time's all started again. The temple's reset because, it didn't exist because you've gone back in time. Got to start this all again. And apparently, I found out now that there's a song that slows down time.
Yep, the first song of time.
Could have saved me so much anger.
I think Majora's Mask was one of those remakes that I wanted to happen probably more than Ocarina of Time, because not a lot of people got to play it on the N64. Mainly because if you were there and you bought Majora's Mask, everyone went home the day that Majora's Mask came out, put the cartridge in the N64, turned it on, and then it said, can't play this game, you need the expansion pack, which was another 40 quid, I think it was.
What?
You couldn't play it without the expansion pack.
That must be where EA got their inspiration from. They're like, yes, this is a beautiful idea.
But you needed like a little extra bit of hardware in your N64 to play the game, so I guess a bunch of people just never did. And I think this is the optimal way to play it. It's really, 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 really good.
I also heard that like a lot of people didn't particularly like it because of the fact that it's not like it doesn't hold the same values as some of the other Zelda games. It's different, but with a Zelda sort of title on it. So like it's obviously got the dungeons, but it seems more about like the people, and
it's definitely more side quest oriented, I suppose. But the cool thing about Majora's Mask anyway is that it was supposed to be a sequel to Ocarina of Time. Or like no, it wasn't. It was supposed to be a port of Ocarina of Time to the N64 DD.
Okay.
But Eiji Aonuma was like, I don't want to do that. Give me a year and I'll make you a new Zelda game. And he made Majora's Mask, which is, in my opinion, awesome. And that's why you see all the reused assets from Ocarina of Time. Because they didn't have time to make any other ones, I guess. But I think that's so impressive. And I can understand why people might not have liked the game if they had expected a sequel to Ocarina of Time, because it's entirely different.
Yeah.
But I feel like as a game on its own that just happens to be in the Zelda universe, I feel like it's a really impressive game and lots of fun.
I think the time aspect of it's really interesting, and now that I know that you can like actually slow it down and the time's not so much of a dick as it was before.
Do you know about the Song of Double Time?
No. There's a
Yeah. You can skip forward to certain parts in the day so you can do your side quests.
See, now the little dancing guy in the secret...
In the observatory, yeah.
Yeah, he sort of mentioned something like that, and I was like, something about playing the same song twice, and I was like, I don't understand what you're on about. And it's one of the games that I've got stuck on it, but I'm deliberately not checking, like, wiki on the internet, because I kind of want to figure it out myself. I
wanted to do that, but then I hit the Great Bay Temple, so good luck.
Is that the one I'm on?
It's the one you're trying to get to right now.
So have fun with that.
I've played it for 12 hours so far, and I've got to, like, somewhere near Temple 3. I think I might do another 12.
I think the side quests in the game are so fun. They're my favourite part, like getting all the masks, helping out all these people. There's a particular one, the people who have played the game, the one with Anju and Kaifei, I think is his name. That's one of my favourite quests. And it's really difficult to do, so it's really super rewarding as well.
So, like, in the temples themselves, there's also, like, fairies that you can collect. So what happens, because I haven't been bothered to collect them all.
Well, if you get them all, you take them to, like, the local fairy fountain, I suppose, and they give you things like extra magic.
Okay.
I don't know what else, because I've only got the extra magic one. So I've got to go back through the Goron Temple.
Yeah, that was the one thing that really annoyed me about the time aspect. The fact that you do everything, like, you do one of the side quests, and everyone's sort of happy that you've done it, and then you're like, let's reverse time, and the side quest is gone, and you're like,
yeah.
It doesn't feel like I've affected anything in the game that much, because I've just reversed it all. But then again, the cool aspect is the fact that it's like, something's going to happen at this time, and you need to be there, and it's, like, apparently the alarm clock feature wasn't in the original game either.
No, it wasn't.
Which is
I haven't used that feature yet, because whenever I get a side quest, I'm just like, okay, now I'm going to figure out how to do this side quest. Nothing else matters to me right now, apart from this side quest. But I was going to mention something else, but I've completely forgotten. Continue.
But I was just saying, like, I quite like that aspect of it, and until I found, like, the stuff to freeze time and everything, I thought maybe it would be a good idea if there was some sort of, like, temporal time lock whenever you went into a temple, and it was like, you're in the temple now, time's frozen because magic and shit, and then you got all the time in the world to do it, and then that's the thing I was actually going to say. You reminded me. The cool thing about the game is that you definitely feel like you're getting better at it, because you can
figure out what you're supposed to do and then go, okay, I've only got like 6 hours left before the moon crashes into the Earth, so what I'll do is I'll reset now, and then I'll get a good start on what I know, the things that I know how to do. And then hopefully I can complete the temple in this run. And it feels like you actually get better at the game rather than just like, I've done that thing once.
Could you literally just wait for the moon to... and just...
Yeah,
Yep.
I was trying to wait to do that. I've got 4 minutes left of game time, and it's going to crash. And I want to see that cutscene, which Abby apparently was too scared to watch when she was younger.
How old was I when Majora's Mask came out? Let me work this out really quick, so then you can...
Let's just think, viewers, how old do you think Abby was when...
Well, while you're doing that, like, it definitely does feel like that, because in the second temple, I had to do that at least 2, maybe 3 times, because I ran out of time. But there's a load of, like, ice frozen stuff, and then you get the fire arrows in that, and then you can shoot those fire arrows at the ice, and it melts it, whereas, like, before you've had to sort of go around and actually specifically go to different places, so you can get through it an awful lot quicker. And once you finish the temple, there's the sort of warp zone to go back to the boss. I suppose, like, once you've done it once and you skip back time, you can actually really quickly complete the temple again, just by doing the boss. And the boss battles, I thought the second temple boss battle was actually really fun as well.
The first one I thought was way easier than I remember it being.
They apparently made it easier.
Oh, okay. That's probably why then. But I was 9 years old when original...
Wow.
I was 9 years old when Majora's Mask came out, so... That's why I was terrified of the moon.
And it's not exactly the nicest moon ever. It's like...
Yeah, the fate.
That's my attempt at being the moon. I am the moon.
Let's put a side-by-side comparison of...
That is the thing of nightmares, isn't it?
It's also got Zora.
You don't want to wear that. You don't want to wear that for pajamas, do you? Like,
Just look down. It's a glow-in-the-dark t-shirt, by the way.
It's like, I'm just going to go brush my teeth in the mirror. Try not to look at my t-shirt and
you could just play such a good prank on someone, like, in a complete darkness, and all you can see is the moon just coming towards
you. You go to laser tag or something like that. Amazing.
I'll just make you an easy target there. I'd be like, shoot me here.
Like 12-year-olds.
Mummy! The moon's trying to get me!
So yeah, I really like the new Majora's Mask, basically. And it seems like you're having fun with it so far.
Yeah, I am definitely having fun. It's definitely going to be rage. Get it. You should get it. It's worth getting.
You should get it.
Well, I don't think I'll get the limited edition one, because, I don't want to spend that kind of money, but some people might, but, I might look into getting the regular one.
The nipple's also quite good for Smash Bros, actually.
Good nipples, okay. I'll take that.
I haven't played any.
Can I have the system that has the nipples, please? I'm sorry, sir. The one that has the nipples. The nipples on the... Oh, you mean the 3DS. Okay.
Hey, you haven't tried anything else yet, Abby? It works quite well with Smash.
Okay.
Like, because you can...
I don't play 3DS Smash anymore now that I have Wii U Smash, so...
You're spoiled with...
Yeah, good game. Whoa.
Apparently, there was a fake... on the topic of Super Smash, saw on my Twitter, there was, like, Rayman leaked, and it was a fake. Something.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, the guy who supposedly leaked it, removed it, like, later on, or something, but loads of people just getting excited about it. So my Twitter feed was like, oh my god, Rayman's gonna... And then it was like, oh, it's fake.
Never trust it unless you hear it in a Nintendo Direct. That's my opinion.
Because everybody lies on the internet.
But aside from Super Smash Bros., there are apparently a handful of games that are tons better on the new 3DS as opposed to the old crap one, I guess. So Monster Hunter 4 also released on the same day as Majora's Mask. And apparently the nipple helps with the camera controls in that game. It's called that now. That's what it's called. Codename Steam, apparently, which isn't coming out until March. As well as Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, which is exclusive, and one of the only exclusives announced for the new 3DS. I can't do it.
Don't worry, I had that problem last week, and then Andy had the week before had the problem of not being able to talk.
I think I'm just getting confused with what the consoles are called. Nintendo, please sort this out. Please don't do this anymore.
Do you reckon they just do it deliberately just to see people like us just going, the 3DS?
Okay, I'm going to call it now.
The new 3DS as opposed to the 3DS.
The next home entertainment system they do is going to be the new Wii U.
I will literally not buy it. I will literally not buy it. There you go.
It's a scary thought that could actually happen.
Like when I posted the picture of that on Twitter, someone's like, "Oh, is that a new 3DS or a new 3DS?" It's like, yes, it's the new 3DS. God.
I only just got over the new Super Mario Brothers series that's been going on for like 5 years now, and I've only just got my head around that. But Xenoblade Chronicles is the only exclusive for the console, and apparently that's being released in April in the US and Japan. Who knows about the EU?
Thanks, guys.
So what would you give Majora's Mask out of 10?
Or would you give it a recommend, essential, or avoid?
I see that clever segue.
Yeah. Wink. See, now I'm calling back to the last episode. I'm on fire.
So, anyway. Eurogamer has decided to drop review scores, which is... I don't know if anyone else decided to do this, because I feel like not a lot of people use numerical scores anymore. But I don't read video game reviews very often, so you guys are going to have to help me out on this one.
Well, Andy has always had quite an opinion about all the different types of rating systems and review kind of concepts people have, so I feel like he should kind of get things started, really, as to what he thinks about the whole thing.
I think I'm actually all for this. Like, there was an issue with our website where there was like some dodgy scoring system going. Not like we were being dodgy about scoring. It's just the plugin was changing all the scores, which is really strange. But yeah, I think that this is a good move potentially for Eurogamer, dropping the scores, because I don't know about you guys, but definitely in days gone past, like when you saw a review, it's like you went down, checked the score, don't necessarily need to read the review. Like, oh, is it a good game? Yeah, it's a good game, and then it's like, yeah, fine.
I definitely feel like video game review scores are kind of broken anyway.
Yeah.
Because anything that's below like an 8 out of 10 is no one's gonna play it. Cause
the thing I gotta say though, one thing I do like about what I used to always like when I was younger, you know, the Games Master magazine, and they have their reviews of how it's broken out, like gameplay, like different aspects. And I didn't mind that rating system because it told me what its strengths and weaknesses were in a very kind of good summarized way. I don't like it when you get like an overall score and nothing else, just one score, because, you know, at least you can see, okay, well, if you have a scoring system but for different aspects of the game, you can say, well, you can see in a summary, well, the story, they're saying the story is terrible, but the actual gameplay itself is quite fun. And, you know, the presentation is, you know, highly rated as well. So you kind of know what kind of, if it's going to be your kind of game. If you don't like story games and something has a low rating in that aspect, you know, to avoid, you know, avoid or go with it.
Yeah, I can understand where you're going with that, but like, I think Eurogamer just having their sort of recommended essential avoid type things, it's going to better home in like the types of games, because giving it a game, oh, it's like you said, 8 out of 10. Well, that's a very personal thing. Like, it's very personal to the reviewer, and if you don't know the reviewer, you might not know what type of games they like.
Because someone could have an 8 out of 10 could mean something different to somebody else. What an 8 out of 10 means, you know, like it's like if you were anything out of 10, what a 10 out of 10 means to somebody. Like some people won't will say, "Oh, this is a perfect game," or "There's 10 out of 10." Well, there's no really such thing as a perfect game, and some people are going to never give a 10, and so they'll think, well, an amazing game is 9.5, and someone else might give it 10 out of 10, but that's just the same as the other person's rating. It just depends how you see it, I guess.
As someone who reviews not games but something, I can definitely agree with the fact that they dropped their review scores. I've never had them personally in the first place, because I want people to pay attention to what I'm saying about the product rather than a number that I give it at the end. And I know a lot of people who I know have decided that they aren't doing review scores anymore because everyone fixates on that. Why did you give it a 5 out of 10? And like a 5 out of 10 to me is average. But a 5 out of 10 in video game terms is like the worst thing. You should never touch this with 10-foot barge pole, even if it's like £3 on sale somewhere. You know?
And God forbid if it got a 1 out of 10. Oh my God.
The one thing that, like, when me and you, Andy, we do the Game Glance videos where we, usually you're playing it and I'm asking you a bunch of questions about it as you're playing through it. And we never have at the end of it gone, oh, what score would you give this? Or, do you give it a great, a good, a bad, a terrible, anything like that. We usually just say, throughout the entire video, what have you enjoyed about it? What problems are there? Would you recommend this? Overall, would you recommend this? And what kind of people would you recommend it to, basically? And that's kind of gives a good sense of like, well, this might be an amazing game, but is it really for me? And, am I going to be able to get over some of the problems and enjoy some of the things it does well? Which a score doesn't. A score just tells you whether it gives you a general vague description of, well, it looks like they enjoyed this, but just based on that score, I need a summary of all of this text. Some things are just, it could be like a 1,000-word review. You need that to be crunched down into a summary that just highlights some of the main points.
Yeah, and I think this kind of like leads into the fact, like, are sites like Eurogamer, Kotaku sort of something of the past, really? Like, whereas if you've got a video that shows you like a game, and someone can like physically describe what's happening, what's good and bad, like, is that better than like reading a 1,000-page article? Which I personally think is, because like in written print, you're just getting screenshots. Whereas you can't necessarily like understand like what's potentially wrong with the game unless you're actually physically seeing it.
But I think a good example of a review where the score kind of people just, well, how did you get to that score? Is
IGN 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, it is IGN, but Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where they got to a score. I think it was, someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong. It was either 7.8 or 7.3. And it had like well, it just seems general. IGN and Pokemon just don't seem to get along, because they had it was a freelance reviewer, I think, that did it, and it said too much water was the negative point, and the score was like 7 point whatever, and everyone's like, too much water, but it's it's a remake of the like original game. It's going to be the same amount of. And it didn't really explain. Do you mean too much water environment-wise? Too much water type Pokemon? Or, that kind of thing. And the other one they did was where they gave a negative point, and that's kind of off topic. It's more criticising that rather than the actual scoring system. But they said the negative one for a remake game was, it's a remake. How is that a negative point for... That's like saying for Majora's Mask, if they reviewed it and said... Okay, well, for 3DS, it's going to get a 7 out of 10 because it's a remake. Well, no, that's the intention, but that's kind of
that's kind of the point of...
Yeah. But back to the actual system itself. Do you actually kind of watch many reviews when you think about buying a game, or?
I do. I watch one website one website that sort of generally, I share the opinions with them. I share their opinions, basically. And if they say, here are the things that are wrong with the game in video format, I can be like, okay, I can see why that's an issue. But I can also see its merits as well, so I can sort of make a better consumer choice, because the thing is, like, if you're reviewing movies and stuff, you can sort of just watch the movie on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't really lose anything. Like, you can turn it off if you don't like it. It's not cost you any money. But with games, I feel like they're really big investments now. Like 50 quid for a game. Like, apparently the order's going to be 50 quid and it's like 5.5 hours long. So.
Oh, don't say that to, I forgot his name. It's like, you idiots, obsessing about the length of the campaign. It's the quality, not the quantity. Well, I'm not being funny, but if that's a 5-hour campaign, that's one that needs to be a really replayable campaign, because I am not spending £50 on a 5-hour experience. Yeah, I want a good quality.
Just get Skyrim on Steam sale for like £3. That'll last you for years. That'll be great.
It's like pennies per hour. But it's like 10.
This recommend essential avoid. I've already seen that before. Similarly with a YouTuber that I watch called Angry Centaur Gaming, he does a thing where it's like buy, rent, or sale. Stuff like that. So he's like, okay, at the end of it, he'll say, I think this is like for Assassin's Creed Unity, he said that, there's all these problems, but overall, and he focuses also on like the fun factor of games, which a lot of reviewers don't tend to do. They're like, let's zoom up with a microscope at this texture and see how many, like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, this game may have bugs and all this, but when you actually kind of get beyond those points and you don't experience that, it's just generally a really fun game. Yeah. And then he's like, okay, well, you should get this game if it's on sale. I wouldn't pay full price for it in this state. And I think that's good, to have a kind of thing where to say to people, it's rather than say don't buy it at all, say this is a good game, it's just not worth the price tag it holds. And that kind of goes back to what you said, Ebby, about, big investments. If it's a £50 game, you could really like a game and think it's amazing, but you might not necessarily think it's worth that kind of price tag. I might say, Majora's Mask is an amazing game, but to be honest, I think it should be £10 cheaper and I wouldn't pick it up for anything more.
Well, I paid over 200 for my copy of Majora's Mask, so
Yeah, but you did get a console with it as well. But I also think, like, jumping on what you were saying, like, you specifically go to that one place to watch your videos. You can, like, I know if I was to go to, I'm just going to pull Unit Lost out of my hat. I know if there's an FTS game, not an FTS, an RTS game.
FTS is that first tactical
shooter. If it's real-time strategy, they're going to be like really good with their opinions on it because they really like real-time strategy games, and I know that they're going to really focus on the stuff that's important there. Or if I go to someone else, they might that I watched, they might focus on X aspect of the game, and you get to know what they like and what they don't like. And even if there's someone that really hates puzzle games, I quite like a puzzle game, but if I know that if X person really hates this puzzle game, I might actually potentially like it because they just can't do the puzzles and I quite enjoy them. So yeah, it's getting to know the reviewer as well.
Yeah, I definitely think, just echoing what Matt said a minute ago, that more reviewers should focus on how fun a game is, rather than, the graphics aren't perfect, the soundtrack's a bit boring. Because a lot of the time I can see these reviews of games and I'm like, okay, it's got performance issues, everyone's really mad at Ubisoft right now, but no one has told me if the game is fun.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea about Assassin's Creed Unity on whether that game was actually good or not, aside from the game-breaking bugs.
I mean, I did say, like, because I think I said to you, Andy, that I have noticed a few minor bugs, but you were like, I don't know how you put so many hours into the game, and I was like, well, the thing is, there are issues here and there, and there are some funny glitches that I did come across, but I just have so much fun playing it, and it's just such, when you get addictive gameplay where you could do the same stuff over and over again, and it's just kind of fun to do it.
I think my issue though is I just really don't like the Assassin's Creed games. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
Like watching, I just find them really boring.
But I mean, that's the thing about, like, in terms of saying in reviews, of saying, well, I think this type of game, if you like this type of game, or you like these kind of things, or, reviews should be about recommending it to certain audiences of like, well, if you don't like that, regardless of, 90% of people might think this game is great, but then that doesn't necessarily mean that the majority, just because the majority doesn't mean you will.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of point out, well, if you don't really like this franchise or type of games, you're probably not going to enjoy it. I do want to say on a side note, though, in terms of Metacritic, please, anybody listening or watching, don't pay attention to the user reviews on Metacritic. They are so bad, because what happens, right, is people who hate the game for just ridiculous reasons put a score of 0 on there. And then people who actually like the game, but don't think it should be isn't a 10 out of 10, put a 10 to raise the overall score. So there's people going, I'm going to put 0s because there's loads of 10s and I want the average score to be lowered. And then the people who like it go, I'm just going to put 10s because I want to make those 0s inadequate. So you're just getting loads of 0s and 10s.
It's a broken system.
Yeah.
So I just going on that, there's a really funny Twitter that I quite like following. It's called Amazon Movie Reviews, and they post up just ridiculous reviews of everything. So I'm just gonna look at their pinned tweet at the moment. Wolf of Wall Street, 1 star. There were no wolves in this movie. Go follow it if you haven't, because it's quite a funny one to
The biggest problem with Metacritic as well is, as you mentioned before, Andy, it's kind of aggregates with the reviews, but then some people have like a 5 out of 5 star system. Some people have a 10 out of 10 system. Some people have buy or don't buy, and it all just gets pulled into, they probably mean
like
that.
Like 5 stars is completely different to 100%, but not according to Metacritic. Metacritic it is, and it's like 5 stars, that must be 100%.
4 out of 5 does not equal 9 out of 10. No.
It's a flawed system.
It's an 8 out of 10, isn't it?
Potentially, if you're gonna
it's such a, the fact that you have to take time to think about it shows that it shouldn't,
God, maths! No one said we were gonna do maths in this podcast. But, apparently they also weight it as well, so, but they don't tell people how it's weighted, so, one reviewer...
Yeah, that's stupid.
Because they give it, 90%, and that's heavily weighted because they're, I don't know, doing something.
That's like going to McDonald's and saying, what actually goes into this burger? Well, it's delicious, but you don't need to know what goes into it,
It's 100% British beef.
I promise you, the employees of McDonald's do not know what's in that food either.
Yeah. But it's, you can't say, the whole point of our site is to tell you help you have a better insight into what games you should and shouldn't get and whether you'll like them. But how that system works, I'm not going to tell you. Be transparent, people, I think.
I do feel kind of sorry for some games journalists, though. Going back to Assassin's Creed, I just remembered that the site that I visit to watch my video game reviews and stuff gave a pretty good review of Assassin's Creed Unity. They were like, yeah, there's some bugs, but overall, great experience, really fun. And they got so much flack for it. They were like, why are you not rallying against Ubisoft for putting out an unfinished game? And no one took it to heart, like what he was saying. Like, no, it's really fun, like the way that Notre Dame works. It's really, intricate and great, and no one gave a crap. One gave a crap.
I think one of the big problems is when you start to review games, you start thinking, right, I've got to focus on the little details and be really critical because people are going to, want to know what is good and bad and need to be really detailed about it. And they don't kind of enjoy it as a regular gamer would, because if me or you, for example, we're just buying a game, we're not reviewing it, and we don't have that pressure of going, I need to do a good review, I need to kind of make it accurate. If we just sat there at face value enjoying it, we're not going to focus too much on that wall looks a little bit dodgy, it's a bit blurry over there, or, oh, look, that NPC just suddenly changed into a woman, but it's so far in the distance I can't even tell, or something like that, then, you know, you're just kind of playing it and you're enjoying the gameplay, you're not focusing on the minor little things, and so it overcomes that. I mean, the thing with Assassin's Creed Unity, and they're like, oh yeah, sometimes, yeah, okay, I did have an instance where a man turned into a woman, but the only reason I noticed these things is because it was mentioned in a review, so I was like, I wonder if that actually does happen. And you had like the popping of the NPCs. But if you shouldn't really be paying attention to what they do, you should be paying attention on what your character's doing, and if you focus more on what you're trying to do rather than what's going on around you, that's not even that important. Then.
But these things should have come out in like the QA process, though.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
But that's a separate issue.
They should fix the game. Don't get me wrong on that. But I also want to know, like, when they fix the game, is it still worth buying? Because no one was focusing on the gameplay. They were all focusing on how broken the game was when it first launched.
The fact is, you know, can you enjoy this? Is this going to be an enjoyable experience for you overall? And that's something they don't tap into too much. It's like, yeah, okay, there's loads of broken features, but does that detach from the amount of, you know, like we said before, the fun factor? And the reason why there's certain reviewers I follow is because I like the fact that sometimes they talk about things that a lot of people ignore, and they kind of cover things. And, you know, overall, I don't always play a game because, you know, sometimes I want games to have a good story or anything, but overall, when I play a game, the main thing I'm focused on is, am I having fun? Because if I go, yeah, this is, I could see this is, they put a lot of effort into this game and the game works really well and there's no problems, but am I actually enjoying myself here? No. Well, then does that make that a good game for me, personally? No.
Mm.
Fix it. That's my advice. Fix yourself. Is that everything that you have to say about?
Yeah, I think
so.
that got summed up quite well.
So that's it. We're done now.
Soprano ending. Cut off with root.
Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.